Okay, let's go up to Dudley West now, to the glass factory there where we were earlier on with the politicians, and talk to some of the people who work in that factory. We've got 5 of them sitting around the table. Let me start with you, John Taylor. You're the production director up there. What do you think the feeling is, your own feeling, about whether this economy is getting up off the ground, whether people in Dudley are beginning to feel the benefit of the pace of growth of the economy?
Well, despite what people are saying, personally, there doesn't seem to be any improvement in the state of the economy. As far as people here are concerned, I think that, yes, something other than a neutral budget will help, but I think that people generally are looking for other factors. Personally, I think that employment is a key issue, the rising crime rate. I think these are key factors that the government keeps talking about but needs to address.
Right, and Pat Lewis sitting next to you, you're probably going to hear the Chancellor of the Exchequer trying to tell you that everything in the garden is rosy or is coming up roses. Do you feel everything's coming up roses from your point of view?
No, I don't think it is.
Can you tell me what it is that's wrong at the moment for you?
Well, the increases that are going on, myself, I'm more interested in the VAT that seems to be going on, heating, and obviously he's going to put it on other things too, eventually, and we're getting nothing to compensate for that.
Do you feel better off this year than you did, say, last year?
No, no, we're not.
Things are getting worse?
Not. Yes.
What about the safety of your job and the business as a whole in the Dudley area? Do you feel people are nervous?
Yes.
Still?
Yes.
They are. Let me go on to Trevor Webster, who's sitting next to you. Mr. Webster, what about your view on this? You're work on decorating the glass up there, but you're also sort of active politically, or at least take a big interest in politics. How do you read the way things are going and how it's going to affect the by-election in Dudley West?
Well, I don't think that people keep going on about the feel-good factor, and I just don't feel good.
That's a very simple way of putting it. And what would you expect to get from the Chancellor then to make you feel good?
Nothing.
Nothing. So you don't think he can deliver?
I don't think he will do anything for me in this budget. I think he will in the next budget when there could be an election, general election.
So what do you make of all the talk of recovery and export-led growth and the rest of it?
I think there is an export-led growth, and I think it's very good. But the home market seems to be very static, and is that feel-good factor again?
Right, thank you very much. David Williams-Thomas is the managing director of the glass company. Now, are you feeling this? Are you getting export-led growth, but nothing much happening on the home market?
Welcome to Royal Brierley, David. Thank you very much for coming to see us today.
Thank you for the plug.
We've been here in Brierley Hill for 200 years, and obviously we intend to remain here another 200 years. Business has been extremely difficult, and it remains extremely difficult. But we are getting export-led growth. Our business in export markets has grown very substantially over the last 2 years. But the home market recovery is still extremely fragile. Whatever they say, whatever the economists say in London, the retail recovery is very patchy and very fragile.
And what do you attribute that to? Is it people not having money in their pockets, or is it people nervous about spending because they don't know what the future holds?
A bit of both. I mean, I think people's priorities are obviously home, mortgage. The basic bills have to come first, and after all, crystal tends to be somewhat of a luxury product, and maybe it comes a little bit further down the line. But
right. Well, Roger Hutt, I think, is also there, a businessman with another new company across the road. You've heard what the other 4 at the table said, Mr. Hutt. You've started a business in the last few years. How do you feel about the state of the economy? We're being told that it's growing fast. Do you sense that?
No, I don't. I speak to a lot of retailers, David, and they've had a terrible year. We have a saying around here, if I were going there, I wouldn't start from here. And I think that's the Chancellor's dilemma, that the economy is operating at such a low level. It's got to improve to a certain degree, but it's got a hell of a lot of improvement to do before it gets up to what it was a few years ago.
What is it that you think that the Chancellor could do today, then, to improve the feeling in Dudley West, if not before the by-election, at any rate over the next year?
Well, personally, I would like to see a commitment to stopping these horrific job losses like we've just had in the mining industry, because the real key to the success of the economy is more and more people having real jobs.
And you don't expect any particular measures today, then, that will cheer people up?
No, someone mentioned earlier tinkering, and I think that's what will happen. Probably a bit of tinkering with the tax thresholds. I wish he would forget the idea of the VAT on fuel, but I suspect that he won't. Just a bit of tinkering, I think.
Can I go back to John Taylor on the left-hand side of the table? Is there anything specific that you would like to see, even if you don't think the Chancellor would do it? Is there any trick you could offer to him if he wanted to win your heart this afternoon?
Well, I think speaking for the employees here, I think that if there was some way that we could get a small reduction in VAT and maybe promote spending, that's a general basis and a general point from me. I think on a personal note again, for particularly the people in this part of the country, I think that if there were tax cuts or reductions which would help the difficulty that many people in this area are feeling.
Well, thank you very much in Dudley. I hope we may be able to go back up to Dudley after the budget if there's time. It rather depends how long everybody speaks this afternoon, not how long we speak, how long the politicians speak, and we'll get back to them and see their reaction to what happens.